Sawadee Cup and welcome to another MMA Monday here for the Funkit Pod. The OJ back in your life, MMA Monday here on the Funkit Pod. It might not be Monday where you are right now, but in our minds it's still Monday, so we talk about MMA. What happened in the world of MMA in regards to media coverage and how the media has been used. Like, I'm not only, again, reviewing fights here because there are so many channels out there that review fights and analyze fights. I'll try to look at what I'm hopefully good at and know of. Media. How does the media cover certain things? How is the media being used by fighters, by programs, and so on? And well, let's just jump right into it and let's talk about the past UFC 272 fight card. I'm not sure if you noticed, but the main event was between two guys who used to be best friends turned bitter rivals. I know no one ever mentioned that. I think the build up to this fight, even though it's a bit annoying that like two former best friends now turn bitter rivals, was like used to like no extent, of course. It was a bit annoying, but the embedded that led up to it and the countdown was like fantastic. I think that was a great storytelling. I mentioned this in our last breakdown. I think the storytelling from the UFC to build up to this match was great. I also think that, of course, Masvidal and Covington played right into it because they know that they can sell the stuff, even though Colby didn't get pay-per-view points apparently. So it was great. But we already covered this last time, and so this continued, and now we're at the fight, and well, Covington hugs Masvidal to death and wins. Okay, cool. And now afterwards, then Colby grabs the mic and calls out Dustin Poirier, and it's just really insulting again, and it's just annoying. It's like Conor McGregor, but then he ups it one more time, right? And maybe he thinks it's necessary to outshine Conor as the bad guy, but I just think it's really annoying, and there could be better ways to do this. You don't need to be an a-hole to get attention, right? Nevertheless, I do appreciate that he jumps from one right to the next, and he adjusts very fast, right? He was throwing around other names in between, and then it's like, okay, no, nothing sticks. I'm going to go with Poirier. Now let's see if this one sticks. He could have said, like, I'm going to go through the whole ATT team, for example. And this could have been an angle, but okay, whatever. I do like that he keeps telling stories because he wants to try to keep selling events, attention, the interest in his persona. So that makes sense. Masvidal, brother, I lost, but you still suck, to Covington, and he's like, I'm like 2 or 3 fights away, and then I'm gonna get these guys again, like Covington and Usman. I mean, no, who really believes that? But yeah, so what else should he be doing right now? He has to like take the L. He needs to keep talking trash to Covington, of course. Should he like just run away? No, of course, no. That's not what Masvidal does. So that's what he has to do now, of course. But of course, it's like less visible right now in social media, which also makes sense. After an L, you don't stay that visible. You don't keep talking that much trash. You just don't run away. And if something comes your way, you just respond. But that's about it. Masvidal does that right now. Give it a few more weeks, and then he's going to start building to another fight again, I assume. The co-main event, RDA versus Renato Moicano. Well, the fight was a clear thing, of course. There was no build to that. Moicano, like super last minute replacement, so they couldn't do any build. Afterwards, now RDA went on Ariel's show and made some points about like why Islam shouldn't get a title shot and like how the corner of Moicano should have stopped the fight and why he took the pedal off the gas and so on. So I like RDA is doing media like very old school style. He does like media like 1 or 2 weeks before a fight and then like a week after again and so on, which is fine. And he also, to his credit, he always tries to either call someone out, criticize someone, like has some names in there just to stay relevant. And that's a good thing because, I mean, he's been around forever, so it would be easy for him to slide down the ladder and like, yeah, man, fight Cowboy Cerrone or whatever. I know weight classes, weight classes. But yeah, so he's still staying relevant with like the way he fights and wins right now. And then of course also like saying like Fiziev is not on his radar anymore. Like he moved on from that. Like, he won like clearly right now, so he wants something bigger now. So that is smart of RDA. I think I'm sure we're gonna hear a few more sound bites here and there from him, just so that his name stays in the conversation. So that's smart. We had also Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell, UD, of course. He's just weird. He doesn't know how to use the media, and he should stay away from the media as much as possible, because when he's there, like on Ariel's show, it's not a good look. He's fantastic in the octagon. He's a great fighter, and that he wants to donate like half his purse is fantastic. And I'm sure he's a good dude at heart, but this hillbilly thing, I'm not sure if that's like the right thing to highlight in the media, because this can obviously backfire, as we've seen in the Ariel Helwani interview. So maybe I don't think he wants media coaching. He would need some media coaching, maybe like just some basic stuff. I wouldn't want to change him, just like some basic stuff, but maybe that hillbilly following is like the ones that embracing him then, and that's not meant as an offense. Maybe there's a market, like Sean Strickland has a market, maybe Bryce Mitchell has a market too. Last thing is then, not the last thing, Kevin Holland, Alex Oliveira. It was fantastic. Kevin Holland with the meme again, the thumbs up, of course, right? And then the knockout. So as good as it gets. He was talking a shit load of stuff before. What do you think, how much he's going to talk now, of course, and he's going to be everywhere. He's going to keep beating up trolls and whatnot. He's going to wear his OnlyFans hoodie. Kevin Holland, media overkill incoming. Sergey Spivak, Greg Hardy is the right outcome, of course. We're all happy about that. Greg Hardy just needs to go away. Shouldn't do any media, of course. Sergey Spivak can't really say much about this. Because, just the language barrier with the media and so on. So that was that. When we look at the next event, the next fight night, and like how the guys are using media here. The main event of the fight night is Santos versus Ankalaev. None of those guys is good with the media. Ankalaev even less so than Thiago Santos. I'm sure Thiago Santos will be on Ariel's show again or something. But Ankalaev, of course, doesn't do anything. So can't say much here. We have Marlon Moraes, who just shouldn't say anything because he's just getting beat up all the time. Versus Song Yadong, who needs to bounce back, of course. Song Yadong, I'm not sure how well he speaks English by now, like how confidently. But he's in the right camp to be good at trash talk. So there's no one who's really doing anything in regards to using media. There will not be a huge bill to. There never is to fight nights. So let's move on from that. I believe. All right. Only cool thing is that Terrence McKinney is actually back on the card versus Drew Dober. I think last minute replacement here, Terrence McKinney, and Terrence McKinney is like. He goes on like some interesting podcasts. He went on the podcast with Luis J. Gomez, his new one, but he didn't do like many others, like of the usual ones. So that's actually cool that he picks and chooses the ones that he really likes. Like he was on and was like, it's really cool. I'm a fan of you guys, of comedy and so on. So that was kind of cool. So Terrence McKinney is an interesting dude to keep an eye on, and he looks like he's 12. Let's see how that goes. All right. Okay, that's my quick UFC breakdown. We're going to come back to then a few more media headlines in a second. But I do also... let's do it right away, the media headlines in a second. So first things first, Kayla Harrisson re-signed with the PFL. Best thing to happen for the PFL, of course, because let's be honest, who else is fighting for the PFL? Exactly, you don't know, because the PFL is also terrible at using the media. As are the fighters. The only one who's good at it is Kayla Harris. Maybe it's also because she's the only really good fighter there. Don't at me. But I do enjoy the PFL fight sometimes. So you gotta get better there. Like I am subscribed to all the media updates from the PFL, so I get all those email news and letters by Lauren Mack and so on, who works for the PFL. But it's just like newsletters. It's like, yeah, that's not cool. That's not MMA style. I don't want that. So PFL, you gotta do better. If you need some consulting in regards how to use the media more engaging, how to tell better stories and whatnot, shout out. funkitpod@gmail.com. I'm going, hello@sashafunk.com. Just shout out. I'm there for you. You get a friendship prize. No problem. So, but Kayla Harrisson resigned. Bit disappointing. Cause I mean, cool for the PFL obviously, but everyone was like, yeah, like something exciting. Nah, just gonna stay there, gonna beat up girls that are not on her level, which is kind of sad. We also had Joanna Jacek, Germans and Polish names, in the media a little bit now with like ATT being in the media. So she was with the Schmo, I believe, and a few others, and she seemed like really happy and in a good place. So I'm really looking forward to seeing like her coming back. If she remains or keeps that persona, I think it would do her well. That would be good for her brand. Rather than going back into like the mean Joanna mode, like I'm the boogie woman. That was bullshit. Joanna, stay that happy, cool girl. People gonna love you and gonna root for you. That would be nice. What else do we have in the media? Cain Velasquez, of course. Yeah, shit. Bail denied today. Yeah, I mean, we all understand what he did, why he did it. Too bad that he didn't get the right person. It's hard. I mean, of course, you can't run around and shoot people. So we understand why he did it, and I think bail would have been fair, I guess. But I mean, depending on how the U.S. justice system works. But yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. And of course, now lots of fighters attach their names to it. I hope they don't just do it to just be in the news. Like Derek Brunson, for example, I hope they really actually try to help him or his family. That's all I can say about this. And we also had, of course, now with UFC 272, we had Marina Moros from Ukraine actually winning her fight and being like very outspoken. Obviously, if you're from the Ukraine, you should be. And I still think more UFC fighters should be outspoken, more officials should be outspoken. I'm super disappointed that more outlets such as Ariel Helwani, Joe Rogan is kind of outspokenish, but could be more. All the other podcasts out there, I'm super disappointed that no one's saying anything about Ukraine and Russia. It's like you always try. They always want to make fun of politics and whatnot, and they always take like stances. But now, when it would matter to take a stance, they're not. What's the deal here? And lastly, of course, Brock Lesnar came out and said like he's not going to go back to UFC. Go figure. And he said he's too old, which is obviously true. Okay, that's now what we covered with like the media. Back to now the preview side of the show, because I told you I'm going to preview a few things, of course. And one of them being Bellator. No, I'm kidding. I'm not previewing Bellator. You know what's the Bellator main event now in 3 days from now on Saturday? Boric versus Bernal. And while they're obviously good fighters, did you know that? No, you didn't. Why? Because Bellator is the worst organization when it comes to media. They're even worse than the PFL. How is it possible that I don't know, that no one knows about your fights, when they are, who's fighting? The hell? Bellator, oh God, this is just so, also the website is terrible. But this is just sad. This is just really sad. What's gonna happen now? Also, this Friday is going to be one championship. It's going to be live in action again. I think, again, probably live from Singapore, I assume. With the main event, Tan Le, who trains in the United States, of course, versus Gary Tonon, featherweight world championship. Tan Le took the championship belt from Martin Nguyen back then and still is the champ, of course. Tan Le with a really striking, heavy game, usually. Great Instagram. Lots of like funny videos with him and his brother, which is pretty cool. I like that. Gary Tonon, of course, wrestling heavy, but also like with John Danaher in this corner, also always good for a flying knee or things like this. This is going to be interesting. Like Gary Tonon fast tracked, not really fast tracked, but still kind of fast tracked. Like, I think within 2 years or so now to the title. That's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm not exaggerating. I'm looking forward to Tan Le versus Gary Tonon. That's the first real test for Gary Tonon, I believe. And I mean, if he passes this one, then he's champion. So congratulations. We also will see Bibiano Fernandez, co-main event, bantamweight. I still think Tan Le gets it. But then again, Gary Tonon. I mean, man, it's Gary Tonon, right? So I mean, I'm always picking the striker over the wrestler, but then Gary Tonon flying knee knockout, who knows? Like, and Tanley did get beat up for a while against Martin Nguyen, like I think the second round or so. Like first round was, I believe, Tanley back then it was Martin, and then it was Tanley again, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe Gary Tonon takes that. I'm torn. Co-main also championship, bantamweight world championship between Bibiano Fernandes and John Lineker, the clash of Brazilian superstars who apparently don't really like each other. There's some nice build-up there too, some nice vignettes and so on. They don't like each other, so that's going to be really interesting. I've never been a big John Lineker fan, to be honest. Like, yeah, hands of stone, I know, but I mean, Bibiano Fernandes is just very well rounded. Just the basics very well. So I think Bibiano can grind this out unless he gets caught, of course. If you get caught, it's always over. The third bout on the card is Martin Nguyen, the former champion in featherweight who lost to Tanley, versus Kirill Gorobets from the Ukraine. So the guy still has like a black silhouette on the One Championship website, so there's no picture there. Let's hope he arrives on time and he can actually participate. Let's hope for him. So I think that's the main fights on the main card. One fight I want to highlight on the prelims is Iman Barlow in strawweight Muay Thai versus Daniela Lopez. I don't know much about Daniela Lopez. I know Iman Barlow. I interviewed her before. It's on my website, mythai.org, if you want to check it out. Her nickname isn't it the Pretty Killer or something like this? So Iman Barlow is, even though she's still young, she's a household name in Muay Thai. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her on the one stage here. This should be a great fight in Muay Thai. So if you're into Muay Thai, check out Iman Barlow versus Daniela Lopez. It should be pretty fun. Okay, so that's a quick preview for One Championship. Lights Out, that's the name of the pay-per-view. That should be fun. Like, I guess the few fights I mentioned, usually the other fights are also always good at One Championship, even the guys you don't really know because they want to make a name. I'm looking forward to this. It's always fun to watch. It's like around 7-8 p.m. here in Thailand. So it's perfect to watch for us. Usually One X is coming up soon with like the crazy fights. We will have a detailed breakdown show for this, of course, because I think that's the show that will draw the most interest from the rest of the world that's not Asia. All right, that's it for now, though. And as always, I hope, you guys first subscribe. That would be cool. But in this day and age, I'm not even going to mention it anymore because I just hope you guys are safe. You stay safe. Thoughts still, of course, with the people of Ukraine. Let's hope this gets figured out really soon. Take care. Don't forget to keep your guard up, especially if you're in the Ukraine. Keep your guards up. Don't let it slip. Stay safe. Take care. And I'll see and talk to you soon. Sawadee Krap.